Hi everybody, it's Stan. My video today is going to be a little bit about foods and diet and supplements for mercury toxicity. Somebody asked me to talk about that, so I'll try to give some ideas. This part here is the usual disclaimer stuff that pretty much says I'm not a doctor. I was just mercury poisoned, heavy metal poisoned. And like many other people, we figure a lot of this out on our own. Doctors usually don't know a lot about this. A lot of them even give you bad information, lead you down the wrong path. And we kind of all find our own way with a little bit of support from people we find that might know something. That's my best way of putting it. You can subscribe here to a blog I have, which I'm still working on. It's not the greatest information. I wrote it quickly and I need to edit it, so I wouldn't spend too much time there, but you can subscribe. Sometimes I send information out by email. My main goal in all my videos is to open our minds to other possibilities of what the root cause to why we're not feeling well. Always have an open mind to find the truth, and always try to look for the true root cause. Okay, if you're having pain and you decide your digestive system got messed up because of the pain pills, the pain wasn't your root cause. The root cause was what was causing the pain. A lot of people talk that way a lot, and they miss the concept of what the true root cause is. The other things in yellow are the main things I talk to people when they approach me, so we cover the bases. If you don't look at MTHFR, then you're missing something huge. That was probably my biggest improvement that I found, and taking the supplements for that was a major turning point for me, along with removing my amalgams. You can read through these highlighted things. I just put those on every video. Bottom line, boosting glutathione with the MTHFR supplements was, I believe, my number one positive thing I did that helped me detox. I detoxed naturally. My body did 99% of it. I really didn't need protocols. I didn't need chelation. I'll talk about those in other videos. So a lot of people miss that. A lot of people go to chelation and they don't address MTHFR, and they get very, very messed up. So be very careful. So talking about foods and supplements. If you're chronically toxic versus acute toxic, the foods and thiol intolerance can affect you. It can affect you a little or a lot depending on your toxic level, so keep that in mind. It all depends on how much toxicity is in you, what the mixture of metals might be in you, how your body's fighting it, whether or not you have MTHFR that's helping your body detox naturally. All that's like a big balancing act that's going on all the time. And when you start feeling worse, I always say it's because you're losing that balance point, or something got worse inside you. You're either eating, for instance, too many of the wrong foods. Thiol intolerance means you're sensitive to sulfur-based foods. If you look up a list of thiol-based or thiol-type foods, many of them are sulfur-based. So you got to be very careful what you're eating. You could be eating a mixture of thiol foods and feel okay. Then all of a sudden you eat like a clove of garlic or something, because garlic is good for you, and it just knocks you over the edge. And like I did that one time. I was like messed up for about 12 hours with all kinds of crazy symptoms. Acute toxicity is more like, and I had both of these, so I know. No appetite, you're losing weight, you're really, really messed up mentally and physically and everything. So chronic, you're getting along in the day. Maybe you're having more like allergic type reaction feelings when you're eating foods or supplements, okay? I should put in here right now, before I forget, read labels. Read them real closely. Corn syrup, I just popped it in there, for instance. A lot of people say don't eat any of that stuff. It's in everything. And one of the reasons I've been told is it's got trace mercury in it. Okay? So I already talked about thiol intolerance. What happens when you're got too much mercury in you? Something called mineral derangement happens, where your body displaces the basic minerals it needs to function. Or worse, it's looking for zinc, it's looking for magnesium, and it sees mercury out there, and mercury kind of tricks your body into saying, "Hey, I'm zinc, or I'm magnesium." So your body will try to use the mercury thinking it's zinc or magnesium. That's the best way I can put it. And you get really, really messed up from it. You can tell mineral derangement from a hair test. So a hair test is a really good thing to do, to find out where you stand. A lot of people say you don't get enough data from that. You need to know the levels more accurately. That's a bunch of baloney, in my opinion. The levels are irrelevant. All my levels were low, and I was messed up. So it doesn't matter how much is in you, and no one can predict what the mix of metals will do to anybody. So just the fact that you have metals in you and you know what they are, and you have symptoms should be enough of a connection to say, wow, the symptoms are from the metals. It's that simple. It's more simple, obvious when you have amalgams in your mouth and you have symptoms. What else could be causing it is the way I put it. Supplements that can interact with mercury. Zinc and magnesium are the two big ones that get affected a lot by mercury. So supplementing zinc and magnesium is important when you got mercury in you. And I'll talk about a little bit more down below. Chlorella, cilantro, spirulina, and I even threw in parsley. Very strong, natural chelator type foods. You'll see people recommending these. I don't know why they do that. When I didn't know about this stuff and I was highly thiol intolerant, I took chlorella because it said it's a great natural detoxer, and I was so sick for several days I couldn't figure out why am I taking a good detoxer and I'm sick. And I realized later it was just too much for me, too strong, and I had to stop. Careful when you see people recommending that. Number 8 is pretty obvious almost nowadays. I don't think anybody should be, you should all be eating non-GMO food. You should be eating gluten-free food. Totally stay away from processed foods because it's all chemicals, and no one can predict what that mix of chemicals is doing to each individual human being out there. Stay away from sugar. We all know that's bad. It can lead to cancer. I talk about MTHFR. It's a simple blood test to find out whether you have it or not, and there's different variations and levels of it. I had the worst, which is the worst ability to detox. It's the inability to process folic acid, and which happens to be in a lot of processed foods. So that's very important to find out. If you have amalgams, they recommend in some groups a core of 4 supplements to take: zinc, magnesium, vitamin C, and then adrenal support. A lot of us have adrenal fatigue, so you could look into doing that. Foods, it's kind of my pet peeve. You see a lot of people saying the diet is why we're all sick. And yes, eating better can help symptoms. It'll lessen thiol intolerance, for instance. But you still may have metals in you, and that's the root cause. And as time goes on, it's going to catch up with you and just make you worse, even though you're eating well. So don't get faked out by, oh, I'm eating well and I feel great. It may not be a long-term solution. The supplements, take the core 4 when you have mercury issues. It helps offset what mercury deranges, the mineral derangement. I reacted to fish oil supplement, a very highly reputable firm out there that made it. Somebody said it's the trace mercury that's still in the fish oil. So my question is 99.999% efficient? Is that all of it taken out at that level of efficiency? And I say the answer for some of us is no. So keep that in mind when someone says, well, you can take this, you can take that. You never know what trace anything could be in what you're taking, whether it's a food or a supplement, and it could interact with you. If you can't afford all the subs, vitamin C is like a very powerful #1 supplement to take. I took up to 20 grams a day when I was very symptomatic. Now I take 1 or 2 grams a day. Be careful what other people suggest. I already talked about this. We're all different. When I see people suggesting chlorella, cilantro, I really wonder if they truly understand all of this, because it can harm so many people so easily. And people should be very careful what they're recommending. definitely remove all your exposure. Please don't think you can just simply detox and, for instance, leave amalgams in or keep eating seafood and you'll be okay. You know, I had somebody tell me that all they do is eat tuna once a week, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, how do you know whether that tuna once a week is too much for your situation? You're still having symptoms, so don't assume that eating tuna once a week is okay. I also had a friend of a friend who relocated to Hawaii and started eating a lot of seafood, and within 6 months they were sicker than anything with mercury poisoning. So again, it's the mercury that we take in from many sources or amalgams, but it's also our body's genetic ability to detox. And again, I go back to MTHFR. If you have that to some level, you're not going to detox naturally, and you need some help there. And it's very simple how to help yourself. Just take a methyl version of certain B vitamins. And I think I talked about it in a video, or I will soon. So I don't know if that was very helpful. Maybe I should put down too, the most simple thing is, maybe I missed it, you know, eat from the earth, people say. In other words, if it comes from the earth, it's not processed, it doesn't have chemicals in it. Yes, you can still have garden-grown stuff that gets chemicals in it from what's in your ground or what comes in the rain and all that kind of stuff. So nothing's perfect, but it's way more perfect maybe than what you're buying in the stores. So that just, I kind of glossed over this quickly, but I wanted to cover it. Maybe I gave a couple tips in there to be aware of. A lot of people will be eating right and taking supplements and they're still sick. And the thing is, they really don't make the connection that why they're sick, and it could be that they're